the timeline shift, and what you're talking about. So there is an attempt by part of humanity to remove itself from the whole in being better than.
You believe that?
And the part that they couldn't remove themselves from because we're sort of all connected is the rage, the homeless, the other polarity. So you've got this polarized thing. Is that, or am I missing what you're describing?
Well, you have the dynamic of the inequities that have existed in your
Yeah.
world, about
Okay.
the choices that have been made around political decisions that really have nothing to do with natural law and have to do more with the dynamics of wokeness and certain political and social viewpoints on dynamics of things that interfere with the dynamics of reality. And so, if you're looking at at an example of mismanagement that has led to one of catastrophe, there is no better example than what is going on in California. And so, what has started out as a dynamic of good intent, being ecologically sound, and all of that stuff, has led to regulations that has not allowed for logging and therefore clearing underbrush and things like that, that has not allowed for a natural movement of clearing underbrush, so there are not fires like this that come through on regular basis because of the temperature and of the climate that is there. There are a great number of plants that hold a tremendous amount of oil, of what shall we say, flammable material in the dynamics of their sap, of the dynamic of what exists within them, within the plant. And they, once they catch fire, it's almost like if you've ever seen a pine tree go up and catch fire. It's like a big whoosh, but it's that sort of energy that would exist within the underbrush. But because California wanted things to be tamed, they have been doing away with livestock. They have, which eats the underbrush. The fire department would usually take a certain area and clear out the area and make fire breaks, and that's what they had done in the past. But they decided to instead spend a lot of the money on DEI and re-educating, and they said that the fire department was populated by a bunch of white men, and it was a good old boys club. And so, what they have done in that sort of dynamic is they have a female police chief, and they have a female head of the fire department, and they have a female mayor, and they're all tripping over each other in the dynamics of the actuality. And so, instead of being competent, they were hired for their gender or their sexuality or any number of dynamics, and so that's leading. Then you add the whole thing about the governor being overall a total asshole, and you have a total dysfunctional situation where, oh yeah, and the reservoirs were empty. So, and California has just gone through a season where there was more rain that they had in that season they had in the past 20 years. How much water did they retain? Nothing. So there is that whole situation. Now, you say, is this incompetence, or or does it really matter? Is this not a reflection of the dynamic of either the creation or the allowing of reality? And so, even though those people that allowed the dynamics of those individuals to be elected to those positions of responsibility, whose responsibility was it that they be qualified or anything like that? And so, the question really is This is the result. It was bound to happen. It's a dynamic of a logical conclusion to a dynamic of energy. And so, a good portion of the city of Los Angeles is going to burn down, and, there's going to be, it's a timeline shift. And that's what we're talking about. It's a dynamic of a timeline shift. What was it? And this is the second one.
Well, I was going
What
to
was the first one? Do you remember?
the election.
The election.
I was going to bring up about the fact that you said the timeline shift was actually happened in people's responses to the election.
Absolutely right. And that's what's happening here. It's going to be in people's responses to the dynamic. Are they going to come at?
The
Go ahead.
people were elected and various, the situation that was set up was from the woke community. You're using woke to say people who want an idealistic thing, that women are equivalent to men, that there's no
Well,
gender.
it's not even
all
that
of
you're
that.
equivalent to men. It's that men are somehow toxic.
Men are
That white men are toxic.
white men are toxic. Okay.
The white
'Cause
men, the
originally-
people that built the country.
Right.
White men, people that fixed the country.
Right. Okay. I thought you were talking about the Hollywood dynamic, so I'm glad I asked. So
Well,
now
but
I
it's
have
both,
here
isn't it?
both. Okay.
Isn't
And that
isn't
fire-
Hollywood just an extreme reflection of the dynamics of wokeness?
In a way, it's an exaltation of the feminine without owning the reality that both are needed.
Mm. Okay.
Well, isn't that the dynamic? Why did they fire? They fired. We think it was close to a quarter to a half of the fire department. Why did they do that? Because they refused to get the COVID shot.
Oh, okay. So it's that too. Does
You
that
know.
happen to nurses too? I mean, that was anyone who wouldn't comply with that
That's
regime.
right. Well, anyone that had a job that was,
Yeah.
that wound up being a mandate.
I see. Okay. So then the timeline shift for them is also happening within each one of us, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So what side of it do you wind up in? What's your reality like?